When you're talking to a customer who's okay spending 15,000 on a dress for, let's say, a brunch, right? Then they're very open to buying it from anyone. They don't have to buy it from you.
Prada did this whole Kolhapuri launch, and it's like the elephant in the room, so I have to address it.
It came from us rejecting it, the West embracing it, and now us embracing it. Labubus has actually reached out to us herself. She's very sweet. She DMs herself.
If you're wearing something good, you'll make sure your friends and families know where it's from.
We don't gatekeep anything. You don't have to think about is great design because someone else thought about it and said, I've worked it for you.
Not just as a customer, I think as humans, we just want to be acknowledged.
I think sometimes I'm thrown off when I'll see someone wear a flashy t-shirt like a brand logo or something. It's actually in Kim Kardashian's house. Kanye West is obsessed with it. Just because you don't have the resources today doesn't mean you can't start building.
Hello and welcome back to another episode by Just Because. Today we have Shivang with us from Past Modern. Hi Shivang.
Hi Muskan, how are you?
I'm good.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Why don't you start by telling our audience a little about your brand and a little about yourself?
Sure. I am Shivang Chandna. I run the brand called Past Modern. We began it in 2024, so it's been a year and a couple months. Um, the idea was that as a brand, as a country, we have a lot of beautiful stories. We have amazing craft, but it seems to be something in the past and hasn't really been translated into the present.
Hmm.
And the idea was to blend those two things together, make modern garments, but take inspiration from Indian stories, Indian narratives, blend craft, and bring it all together for a global customer.
What inspired you to build Past Modern?
Fashion for me has always been something very personal. I've always enjoyed fashion. I think it's a very silent way of expressing who you are. I had no plans of building a brand or doing anything in fashion. I actually went to Michigan to do my education in economics and math, but fashion was just something very, very common for me, like every day sort of, and for everyone too, right? Like everyone wears clothes every day. It's almost illegal to be naked anywhere around the world. Um, and so when I went to the US, I think before going to the US, my idea of fashion was very Western because that was the cool thing. But then as soon as you leave your country and you go abroad, you start embracing your own culture more so because you understand that's what is unique about you. Just wearing a hoodie everywhere, you're just the next guy, right? And I've always loved the idea of standing out in a crowd. So that's when I started wrestling with my culture a lot more in terms of clothing. I also felt that I didn't want to wear a kurta to class in the US. So I felt there is a space of doing something more modern, but that still carries something which is inherently Indian, but done in a way which feels more global.
So, did you complete your economics?
Yeah. I finished. I finished economics and math. I graduated. I worked in New York for a couple of months. Came back to India. Um, yeah.
But why Past Modern, like as a name?
I think it was just where I am. It was where I was when I was thinking about building the brand, and is where I am right now. I feel as a society, we always are in between these two ideas of what the past was and what the future will look like. Very few people talk about the present. Like whenever you see your friends, also they'll always ask you a question like, "Oh, what are your plans ahead?" or "What happened that day?" It's never about well, how are you feeling today, right? So I think we always live in between these two mediums. I also personally feel that we are currently in a time where technology is aggressively progressing, like artificial intelligence and just all these crazy things happening around us, that everyone is seeking comfort in the past. Like we hang on to a lot of nostalgia now,
Yeah.
right? Like if you go back to maybe 1940s, 50s, a lot of the movies that were being made were very futuristic, right? They would talk about what 2025 would look like, and you would have these flying cars, you would have 2001 Space Odyssey, like rockets and everything. अब कोई ऐसी picture नहीं बनाता. We make movies of the past. We make things that feel a little bit more nostalgic, and that's because there's so much uncertainty as to what the future will look like that everyone wants to seek comfort in what we know has happened in the past. So I think that's the space that I'm personally in. That's the space that I think a lot of people are in, is that they love their past, but they still want to live in the present and the future. So I think past modern for me is a beautiful potpourri of all those ideas coming together.
So, since you are not a designer by profession, what edge do you have to someone who actually is?
A designer.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think what I've come to realize is that designers are artists, right? Like they're very pure in their intention. They'll spend months and months to build a design. What happens is that when you spend so much time to build a design and then when you actually start selling it, there can sometimes be a disconnect. Like if I like something and I make it, and if it doesn't sell, then it becomes very personal to people, right? Like imagine you're making a painting, you're an artist, and you go outside and say, "Here, look at my beautiful painting," and everyone's like, "I don't want to buy that." With clothing, I think there's a purpose, right? Like when you make clothing, it has to be bought by people so they can wear it. It is not a song that you can listen to in passing. It's not a painting that you can watch and say, "Oh, do I like it? Do I not like it?" There's a purpose to it. So I think what happens with designers a lot is that they get very consumed in the process of making it, that they feel it as a personal victory or a personal failure when it doesn't work or it doesn't sell. For me, because I'm not a designer, it's very analytical, where I can look at it in sort of data and say, oh, that red dress is sold well because of XYZ reason. Let's just do more of this. Or I can break it down and not be very attached to my design and say यार ये क्यों नहीं बिका मैंने बहुत प्यार से बनाया था इतने महीने लगे थे इसको डिजाइन करने में or something. I think that's the one edge that I have. I'm very detached from my designs.
You have a business background, so your mind has a muscle memory of to operate in that sense, you think?
Well, I think it's a mix of both. Like half of my day is Excel sheets, half of my day is creative stuff.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a healthy practice to be detached from the work that you make because you have to keep making more. And if you keep living in this fear of, oh, the last thing that I made didn't really work very well, you you get in a very toxic space yourself. Whereas I find it very healthy when you're detached from your designs, and it's like that just worked because there was a reason for it. You understand the reason and you double down on it.
Hmm. Personally, when I follow my creative process, I give my 100%, 1000%, everything to make that. But then once it's out, I leave it on the universe or on the science or on the maths, whatever, to work. And if it works, it's good. If it does not, it's good. I take the feedback and I move on. Because अब तो वो हो गया ना. Like you can't do shit about it.
Yeah, yeah. No, but I think that's how most creative people also operate, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I just feel like when you're trying to build a business or make a livelihood out of it, being analytical
Yeah.
can be right also.
Because you got to move on fast from things that did not work.
Or you could be like Vincent Van Gogh and you're like, he sold maybe one painting in his entire lifetime, right? And there's nothing wrong with it. Like if you are that person who can live with that, you have enough money to sort of support yourself, your family, then by all means you should.
Then that's a passion, no? Then it's not a business. There's a difference between passion and business.
Yeah, yeah, true. But I'm just saying if someone's passionate enough to do it, then they must.
Since you know that creativity does not always guarantee profits, how do you balance that side?
I think it's something we learn every day. When I began the brand, I had a lot of creative ideas of what I want to do. Because when you begin something new, the idea is like, I want to stand out from the market, right? So I had consumed a lot of fashion and I felt, oh, Comme des Garçons did this couple years ago, Yohji Yamamoto did that, Dior has done this. I want to have a new look, I want to have this. The hard part is that it's very hard to sell that, right? When you make something very bizarre and it's very new for the market, it's very hard for it to get a customer also. So I've done that, I've made those mistakes, and I've realized that it's much better to make what people like and give it your own take. Like maybe, I think there's a Virgil Abloh quote where he says, I only modify a design by 3%. And the idea is that people are going to like it because they already know what that is. It's very acceptable, but you've added your touch to it. And essentially, what I feel is the way to go about, or what I've come to learn now, is that instead of coming with the bizarre idea, slowly take your customer there. So begin with a t-shirt, begin with a tank top, begin with something that's simple that your customer understands, give it your touch, modify it by 3%. They'll like it, then keep modifying. And eventually, exponentially over time, you'll have that bizarre idea that they'll buy because now they know that taste, right? They expect that from you. So I think it's something that we learn every day. There's no formula to it. You will have to fail to know it. But the safest way to do it is to take something that you know will work and just modify it.
Is that what you did with your viral tank tops that are floating right now in the market.
Yeah, that was the idea. I mean, every girl that works in our office, every girl that I see in a shopping mall, I see on vacation, I see on Instagram, every girl that I know is wearing a tank top every day. And it seems like it's a staple, right? Like there's nothing to be thought about. You can just pick it up and wear it. And it can be dressed up or down. You can pair it in so many ways. And I felt, okay, Uniqlo does a great job in making a padded tank top, right? So can I invest and make something that's like very tech savvy as a product, or can I use some sort of an Indian craft and make it a little bit more unique that it stands out? And that's the idea of past modern too, is that in the modern times, tank top has become the staple garment, and there's a past technique of beading things by hand. Let's put two and two together, scale that craft up too in a very beautiful manner, do fun motifs that people can wear all year long, and it works, it becomes a viral product.
Yeah, and because I fell for it too.
Fell for it just sounds wrong. It's like we made you fall for it.
You guys did because the ads were so appetizing, the content was so appetizing, and what I loved about it was there was no particular model photo shoot per se. It was just real time pictures in the real time locations that transported me to that thing, and then I did an impulse buy. So I think in communicating that was a cherry on top with the design. But coming to this thing, like the launch was in the perfect time during the holiday season, the summer season. How do you crack like the whole process of to get a viral product? Like, what is the process? Because you had the timing right, you had the garment right.
I think you have to go through a year of missing those deadlines to actually know what those deadlines are.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
still feel like this year with the tank top, we could have, if we had come maybe a month before, it would have been much more viral. We did a skirt recently, which also performs well, but I think that we lost a couple months. We should have done it
Yeah,
before, right?
yeah,
So every year you'll learn this. And I also feel that we live in times where there's no permanence to anything, right? There's a new trend coming almost every month, every 2 weeks.
yeah. Every week.
Every week you'll see something new, right? But then came e-commerce, which was like, I have an idea, I can shoot a sample today, I can go live tomorrow, I can get pre-orders, then I can buy fabric, and then I can put it out. So I think that whole timeline has changed now,
Yeah,
which is why it's much more rapid, it's much more aggressive. Even when I began the brand, I used to do, oh, we have a fall winter collection, we have a spring summer collection. Now we don't do that. We do a collection whenever we can,
yeah,
because I think that you'll miss these windows, right? So if you want to, I don't generally say there's a prescribed timeline for it. Whenever you instinctively feel that my idea, this is the right time for it, you should go ahead and execute it, because also ideas are very fleeting. अगर मुझे आ रहा है तो और भी किसी को आ रहा है.
Hmm.
And if I don't do it, then someone else will do it, and I probably will be late.
I think maturity is realizing कि आपको जो idea आ रहा है तो just be very mature and accepting of the fact कि 100 लोगों को भी आ रहा होगा.
You're not the only one.
Yeah.
So everyone's consuming the same content, right?
Archibald doing a photo shoot and you know just clicking nice pictures is the easiest thing because people relate to organic stuff even if we just if I click a picture in a nice environment and put it, they want the real stuff. So like getting the pictures out on the website and doing a nice UGC shoot is the easiest thing, and the customer loop is so fast that you can get the first glance in just a week. If you have an idea, you execute it, you post it, you get the feedback. नहीं अच्छा लगा बदल दो, अच्छा लगा आगे बढ़ो. And it's so quick that it's the best part.
And that's it, right? Like you said, you have to place the product in a familiar setting. Like take your friend out, make her wear a dress that you want to put out, go to a cafe, do a shoot, put it on your website.
Yeah,
People will like it.
it's the easiest thing. You just have to have a vision. Vision होनी ज़रूरी है, वरना तो नहीं हो सकता.
But everyone waits for that. Oh, I want to have X amount of pieces, do a whole collection, get a model, do a background, do a this, do a that. Nobody cares.
From Paris, I remember that, Prada did this whole Kolhapuri launch and it's like the elephant in the room, so I have to address it.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's amazing. I think that look at an average Indian today, right? They're chasing the Jordans, they're chasing Yeezys, they're chasing these hype sneakers. We haven't worn Kolhapuris, or I haven't seen people wear Kolhapuris in cities for a very long time. Now Prada did it, right? Everyone's talking about it. they'll be back in trend. You'll see everyone wearing it. There'll be tastemakers who'll start wearing it and say, oh, it's the new cool. Then it'll be a trickle down effect. Now, of course, not everyone's going to buy it from Prada, but that means people are going to buy it from artisans who make it here, and they make it just as good, if not better. So I think it's amazing. Prada has an amazing platform, right? It's a massive brand. So when a brand like that highlights an Indian craft or an Indian product, it puts us on a global scale. Now, of course, there's a point to be made that they will get credit for what we did. But again, when did we give it its credit? Never, right? We saw it as the mundane. It's the वो हिंदी मुहावरा घर की मुर्गी दाल बराबर, right? हमारे लिए Kolhapuri was never anything. It was nothing to be prized. But then Prada put it in that context and now it's prized. And now there'll be a trickle down effect where everyone will wear it. Artisans will get more money. It'll be highlighted. And that's amazing. That's a win-win for everyone.
Do you think, as the rise of Indian craft is growing, the power of India using its soft power as culture, as heritage, is going to be big because Korea uses it amazingly in form of pop culture, in form of beauty, in form of cinema. Do you think India has an edge to do that? Of course, I think it does, but will we be able to do it in this decade?
Um, I actually feel that's very much possible. Decade seems long. I think it could be quicker also. Um, when you talk about cultural heritage that we have as a country, India is a much older civilization than Korea as well, right? We've been around here for centuries. We have so many stories to tell. But the first more critical thing I think is that we need to learn those stories. Because of colonialism, we've sort of destroyed our own past and not gone back to it. I think what's important is that we need to educate ourselves first before we start thinking, oh, can we take it global? Can we make it big on the global stage? We need to start embracing our own culture first.
I think Indians are very detached from their own culture, from their own heritage. If Prada talk now, they're talking. It takes a Western push for us Indians to talk about.
But see, that's not something that I think we should be blamed for also. It's very easy to say, oh, the average Indian is to be blamed for leaning onto the West for taste. It's just what happened. Before Britishers came in, we had our own taste. We had our own craft. We had our own culture. We had our own things that we cared about. But what happened was that they started mechanizing a lot of these things. And they said, don't buy cotton that comes from India. Let's destroy this business so that people can buy our mill produced cotton that was coming from Manchester, right? So a lot of our businesses, a lot of our ecosystems, our craft was destroyed deliberately so that the UK could thrive. And then slowly, because they were feeding us that taste, it became our pattern of leaning onto the West to educate us as to what to buy. And that's the baggage that we carry to this day. There's a great space for us to make it happen. We just have to sort of understand it better, package it well, and make products that feel relevant for the present, right?
It will begin when we start to own it.
Yeah.
This is Indian and we like it as it is.
My friend Sohail, who runs this brand Garuda, makes a very great point in his recent reel. He talks about the Corbusier chairs. So, do you know Corbusier as the architect? Designed Chandigarh. Him and his brother, Pierre Generate, they made these like furniture chairs for regular use in Chandigarh. And they were these wooden chairs that were everywhere government offices, high courts.
I was seeing this reel, yeah.
So you'll see those chairs like everywhere in Chandigarh back in 1950s up until 70s, 80s. And then there are pictures that you can actually find on the internet of them being thrown out in dumps. Why? Because people working in offices said we need those chairs that Americans use. इसमें वो black knit pushback लगा है. It aesthetically looks pleasant. So they threw these chairs out because they were like wooden chairs, very bulky. We don't like them. Then Europeans came from, I think, maybe Amsterdam, one of these countries they came from. They toured Chandigarh and they saw these chairs. They were like, this is great stuff. Why is it thrown like this? Let's take it. There's a story here and let's sell it. They sold it in auctions and it moved through auctions for a couple years. वो चेयर जो कूड़े की थी कबाड़ में पड़ी थी वो $5,000 $20,000 की बिकने लग गई. It ended up in Kim Kardashian's house in 2016. You look it up. It's actually in Kim Kardashian's house. Kanye West is obsessed with it. Kanye West has an album that says it's because of Corbusier's design that I've made this album. And then we started looking at those chairs, and now Take any Architectural Digest India article of a new restaurant or a new home, you'll see that chair there. So it came full circle, and it came from us rejecting it, the West embracing it, and now us embracing it. So it's the same Kolhapuri route that has happened couple times. So there's something for us to learn from that. Is that because we don't know what our taste is, we'll always be told what our taste should be. But if we start understanding what our culture was, what we used to be, we can build our own taste because we have so much to build our taste from, and then this can never happen again.
Been seeing that, this NRI touch is also in the boom. Like us as Indians, the basic things as chai, the basic things as Kolhapuris is invisible. But the West comes or NRI comes, they make it cool again, and then it's the next big thing.
I think we have this problem of reducing things to a term like NRI touch. I don't think it's the NRI touch. I think it's just a very fresh perspective. Like when I went to college to the US, when I came back, the first thing I wanted to have was not a burger but ghar ki dal. And it's not like I like yellow dal or anything. I've never enjoyed it before, but it's just you come back with a fresh perspective, right? Like you start embracing your culture more so. And that's very relevant with an NRI person because they live abroad, they have very little touch with their culture. So whatever they have, they hold on to very closely. It's much more fascinating for them because they don't engage with it as regularly as we do. Um, which is why you'll see them embrace it and put nice spins on it and make these global products that become very trending, like the jalebi lip balm that Indiewall does. All of these things are present around us. But it's just that someone with a fresh perspective has to come and take it and show us that, oh, it can be an amazing product also. And also, being when you go outside the country, you engage with all these other amazing products that are using their culture to build them and to showcase that. You put two and two together and you say, I have something great here also in India. Why don't I put it as a product and it can sell? So I think it's not the NRI touch or anything. It's just a new set of vision. It's a new lens. It's a new perspective. And that will always be a little ahead of everyone else. I hope everyone in India starts having a new perspective and starts looking at things more differently.
होता है ना, when you see 10 things, then you're able to understand from a different perspective. Because then you know. Because अगर मैं 10 चीज़ें देख रही हूँ, तो मेरे को समझ आ रहा है अच्छा 5 अच्छी है 5 बुरी है. अगर मैं एक ही चीज़ देख रही हूँ तो मेरे लिए अच्छा बुरा तो कुछ है ही नहीं ना. So, homegrown brands are the new black. And since you are one of the founder of a very interesting brand, what is the unpopular opinion about homegrown brands you have today?
What are the popular opinions that people have about homegrown brands?
Vegan, like just
Slow fashion, ethical,
yeah, it's all those this thing, and
terrible customer service.
all of them looks the same.
Really?
मतलब 90% of homegrown brands at
Similar to each other or some international brand?
similar to each other. This is my unpopular opinion.
But do we stand out in any way or are we also very similar?
You guys stand out because that's the reason I invited you. But yeah, you guys stand out because the reason I'm telling you they look the same because they don't have a story. When you don't have a story, you try to do 10 things.
Yeah.
When you have a story, you're picky on that story and everything has to fall in that story. So yeah, I think homegrown brands lack story and that's why they look same.
Interesting.
What's yours?
I don't have an unpopular opinion.
Yeah, come on, yeah. इतना diplomatic नहीं होते.
Maybe my unpopular opinion could be that I find a lot of these clothing brands expensive. Like a little bit more expensive than I feel they should be. But I also understand the constraints, right?
Yeah.
A lot of these brands are growing. They don't know what will work, what won't work.
Small SKUs, small MOQs.
Limited runs. So I understand that. But I think that most of them that I like tend to be so much more expensive that I feel like a lot of people who actually want those products may not be able to afford those products, right? Or justify that price also. That's the one thing.
It's very diplomatic.
Really?
Too filtered.
No, I genuinely feel there's a huge disparity between brands either being too affordable, too cheap, where they're selling a quality that maybe isn't the best. And then there's one which is the extreme end of it, which is like it's above 15,000 for a top or a dress.
I've seen this current spike in brands that have launched in like the last 1 2 years that are just catering to that very premium audience.
Yeah.
Like their price point starts at 10K. And I am well, like, okay, I understand the market is there, obviously.
No, I also feel like brands who price themselves that high, it must be hard to find a customer also.
Very hard.
Because when you're talking to a customer who's okay spending 15,000 on a dress for, let's say, a brunch, right? Then they're very open to buying it from anyone.
Yeah.
They don't have to buy it from you. Their options are unlimited. Like that's the same customer that travels to Italy, that goes to UK to shop, that goes to Dubai and buys something, right? So you're competing for that customer who has the option for 1,000 brands, and every brand speaks to them in its own unique way.
So you're saying that brand loyalty is very less.
Yeah, absolutely. And especially when you're building a new brand, how do you expect anyone to be loyal to you when they've never bought anything from you?
Yeah, of course, it takes years to bring that loyalty.
And let's take the use case of handbags, right? You're a girl, you bought a Jacquemus handbag because that's a great entry level handbag, right? $600-700 roughly. Then your next aspiration is I want a LV bag. Then you want a Dior bag. Then you want a Chanel bag. Then you want a Hermes bag. But you'll never say नहीं मैं तो Jacquemus से bag लेती हूँ तो मैं तो उसी से ही लूँगी. I'll buy all my bags from them. Or I buy an LV bag, so I'll buy all. Everyone likes a range, right? In your closet, there are so many things where you have socks, you have lingerie, you have your clothes for everyday wear, for office wear, sleep wear, occasion wear. There's so many categories. No brand will ever address everything unless maybe you're Uniqlo. So it's very hard for a customer to also be loyal and say नहीं मेरा तो सब सामान उसी brand से आता है. I personally feel that you can build a brand that is in this space between not being too cheap, not being too expensive. You compete with the Zara and you cater to a larger audience and you give them amazing products that fit them well. That there are issues with the Zara that doesn't address an Indian customer. Start addressing those issues. You will find your audience. You can build a nice brand.
What belief do you hold about design or culture that most people would disagree with? It's like an extension to the unpopular opinion.
About design, I feel a lot of people feel good design is something that's very, very complex. Like something that you can see and it's like, oh, it's very bizarre. There's something happening there. Like it's very interesting. It's very avant garde. I think that's great. But I personally feel design should be something that's very, very intuitive. Like something that you see and you know you can use. Like think of an iPhone, right? As soon as you have it, you know how to use it. It's not complex. So it's a well designed product.
Yeah, good designers should be transparent.
Yeah, I think good design should be transparent. Good design should be something that can be built on scale, that can be understood by most people. I don't think good design is something that should throw people off. I think it should be something that invites people to use it. I think that's what good design is, and I think that's the harder part to crack. You can make something complex very easily because you only have to make one. But when you have to do something at scale, you really have to hone in on, oh, will the fit be fine for this person and that person? Is the fabric okay? Is the stretch enough? I think that's the harder part to crack where it seems simple, but it effortlessly does the job. I think that's good design.
I think keeping things simple is highly underrated
Yeah.
because people don't understand that doing simple things is extremely hard, but it's extremely beautiful because even like if you see the products how Apple make the laptop, the iPhone, the AirPods ka case, everything is that it fits in that
Yeah.
sphere. It's very simple, but to think of that simple thing, that's the whole thing.
Or when you pop your AirPods, it just comes up on your iPhone.
Yeah.
It's so easy to connect things across all products. That is good design. It's things that you don't have to think about is great design because someone else thought about it and said, I worked it for you. So if it's very effortless, I think that's great design. Like even in fashion, we see couture shows where it's like wild designs and it's crazy. It's beautiful to look at. But I still feel a great design is Airism t-shirts by Uniqlo. It's a fabric they spent years making and it's a thing that just does the job, right? Or heat tech. Like it's an affordable product that's just amazing,
It solves your problem
right?
in a no BS way.
Yeah. Like you know what you're expecting, you get it, and that's it.
Keeping things simple.
Simple and useful.
Yes, simple and useful. Hmm. Do you judge people on the basis of clothes they wear?
No, never. I don't judge people, but I think like when I see someone wear something interesting or that I find interesting, I have a stronger urge to go and talk to them and like learn more about them.
This is judgment.
What? Is it?
Yeah,
No, judgmental is like when you pass comments about it and you're like, oh, I don't like this, I like that.
but in your brain, you have formed an.
Okay, fine, sure. I maybe. Well, see, that's everyone says don't judge a book by its cover, but that's the first thing that attracts you also, right? And when you don't know someone, you see them at a distance. Clothing is the first thing you'll see, and you'll say, oh, that looks interesting. I'm not saying that's the deal breaker, but it's the first thing that pulls you in, right? Someone dressed smart makes you feel like, oh, I want to go and talk to this person. I think sometimes I'm thrown off when I'll see someone wear a flashy t-shirt, like a brand logo or something. So
The flashy logos, but
big, very common sights in Delhi.
yeah, very common. What is the most bizarre fit you have seen and when, like, why?
Most bizarre fit. I don't know. I think usually with guys, I think women still dress nice all across the world.
Really?
I think they know what they're doing, or at least they have some sense of style, or they know what fits them. With guys, I think there's a lot of work that can be done. I think you'll always see one trend come up, and every guy just dresses the same way for a while.
Example?
Now suddenly cargo pants are a big thing, so you'll see all guys wear oversized t-shirts, cargo pants, Jordan. एक look बन जाता है. When I was in school, I remember every guy used to wear a black button-down shirt, skinny jeans, and loafers. Going outfit, this was the same thing. Loafer socks, brown or black loafers, blue skinny jeans, black button shirt. Now it's oversized t-shirt, cargo pants, Jordans. Now in a couple years there'll be something else, and every guy will dress the same way. So I think it's never one outfit that throws me off. It's usually when I see a trend that's everywhere without a reason, like Labubus for a reason. I don't get it.
Hate them. I can't stand that stupid
It's not a pleasant look.
doll. Yeah.
Like there's nothing aesthetically attractive about it. So that throws me off. Like when I see someone just like going micro trend to micro trend, I feel like I don't want to talk to you because I don't think you know yourself or your taste, right? So I have nothing to learn from you.
Yeah, it's just fitting in.
Yeah.
Fitting in.
Which I know everyone does because it's a comfortable thing to do. But if you make the time to understand who you are and your taste, you fit in automatically because you just know who you are. You become comfortable in your skin and you're comfortable anywhere.
You know, when I was telling you that all homegrown brands look the same to me at some point, I see this when I go to mall and all the people at some point look the same because they're dressing the same way. Even the girls and even the guys.
But then who is to blame? Is it the brand or the customer? Because
It's the customer.
for the customer, right? And if the customer says, I need this, then you start building.
Yeah, it's the customer, it's not the brand. It's definitely the customers because वही है ना trend
Yeah.
चल रहा है. Because the people who know their individual story and who has a personal style and a personal taste.
Come across very few people who have their own taste. And whenever I come across them, you know that they buy something that's very permanent.
Yeah.
You see them repeating the same thing, and they know like different permutation combinations to wear. And they'll do eclectic things like they'll wear a
And they never look bad because they own it.
comfortable, right?
Yeah, they own it. They never look bad. And if I like put that garment, that same garment, that whole outfit on someone else, they'll probably look like a clown.
Comfort has always been the sexiest thing in fashion. Like when you see someone just being at ease in a simple outfit or a weird outfit or an avant-garde outfit, it's the comfort that's the underlining part which makes you feel, oh, that is a sick outfit.
Proximity of me reaching out to a person is very high if I see that they have an individual taste. You know, depend on someone who is wearing the same sneakers, same t-shirt, same shoes.
No, I've noticed that whenever there is a subset of people who follow micro trends,
Yeah.
they're also in public spaces very busy getting pictures or like shooting content or doing their own bit. So you don't even find the chance to talk to them. They're very busy in their little world. People with their own personal style, you see them at ease, you can actually have a conversation with them.
What's next for Fast Modern? Any new division, new categories, offline? What's the
Offline is very far away. I don't even think about offline. I think every time someone's asked me, I've always said next year, and I still stick with it. Um, I think offline is terribly expensive. I also feel that if you can scale up online, that's amazing. Offline overheads are very, very high. Although every brand loves the idea of having an amazing store.
it's the ultimate goal?
Ultimate goal, I don't know. Um, yeah, not sure about offline. Um, Adding more categories, yes, of course. We've been adding more categories very consistently. We want to keep adding more categories. We are launching international. We used to have an international shipping method on our website, but we've had in the past 2 years a lot of traction from the US very organically on our website because of certain stories that we're telling that are coming, that are being communicated through Instagram. So there's an audience in the US that likes it.
How did you think are you getting the US attraction?
There's a lot of content that we post on Instagram that finds its way to that audience. Again, it's the same thing of it's very underlooked here, but
Yeah, overlooked.
it's appreciated more so. Or we've done reels showing block printing of our collection, and that's done 1 million views. And that sort of content has brought in a lot of international audience because people look at that craft, and again, it's the new perspective, right? I haven't seen printing like this. What is this? It's very fascinating. And then when you see, oh, it's a top that I can buy, which is built with this process, a customer enjoys it. And I feel like, I think there's an appreciation for it here in India as well. But if there's an appreciation for it around the world, as a brand, it's your duty to build it for them also. Like, how proud would it be for everyone if we have an Indian brand that people all around the world wear? And it's not a occasion wear brand or a wedding brand or something that does like very traditional Indian.
It's a lifestyle brand.
Yeah. So that's the idea. Again, very long journey, but a big step, and very excited for it. We'll see how it goes.
Hmm. I'm curious to understand that since we have a very wide range of many influential people wearing past modern, particularly the Rebel Kid. So how did that convert? Like, did you like how was the reaction and how was the aftermath of when the picture came out?
Rebel Kid had actually reached out to us herself. She's very sweet. She DMs herself. Even now, like we communicate on WhatsApp whenever she wants something or she wants to wear something. Um, yeah, I think if you make a great design that has appeal, you'll find an audience for it. I still remember when we launched the brand, we had 600-700 followers, and we had a DM from Rhea Kapoor's stylist, and we sent a couple pieces back then, and Rhea Kapoor wore it. And I think it's that, right? Like if you make a great design, universally it'll find its way to the right people or people that you aspire or think that they should wear your brand. It'll organically find its way. Um, when that happened, it was big. It was pretty big. She has a great audience. She has a very loyal audience. We saw great conversions as well. The visibility was amazing too. The pictures came out very beautiful, and yeah, she looked amazing in the dress. I think, yeah, certain people when they wear your garments, it just together ties in so well. It just makes you very proud, makes you feel happy about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, she and many other people who've worn it, it's amazing to see them wear it.
Yeah, I think they amplify your story even better.
People think that you have to pay and you have to do this or that.
Yeah,
ऐसा कुछ नहीं.
ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता.
Like social media is this democratic platform that allows you to have access to so many amazing people. You just really have to be confident enough and make the effort to put your expression out there.
Yeah, yeah. And I think more than influential people, the best spokesperson are your customers because as an Indian customer, you are very vocal.
Yeah.
If you're wearing something good, you'll make sure your friends and families know where it's from.
We're not, we don't gatekeep anything.
Yeah, we don't gatekeep anything. So I think, yeah, having the right consumer is the biggest spokesperson.
100%.
What do you think is lacking in homegrown brands today?
I think up until a week ago, we had size guides where we had one measurement chart for everyone. And we'd say, this is a measurement chart, that's what our product looks like. And we'd get questions like, "Nee, what is the length of the tank top?" because they want to see if it'll fit nice on them, it'll be short or long, or where it'll rest, right? Same applies for a mini dress. A girl wants to know is dress ki length kitni hai. But I've put one size chart that says these are my measurements, buy my product. So we fixed it. Now every product on our website has its own size chart. A mini dress will have a mini dress size chart, a top will have a top size chart. And that brings in transparency, right? It's not something that you have to do, but as soon as you hear it from a customer and you start fixing it, it's a better experience going forward.
And you will see it in the conversions as well.
Yeah. And this, like I said, devil is in the details. You have to find these little things and like keep tweaking them throughout. How many fashion brands have you come across where it's just aesthetic shoots on their entire Instagram page, right? It's like a whole catalog of like, oh, we did a nice shoot, हमने model बुलाई ये.
वो पहले चलता था ना trend.
Customers don't care. Customers don't want to look at models. You don't have to spend like 5, 6, 7 lakhs on a shoot. मैंने ये photographer बुलाया. That's great. If as a brand you can afford it, that's amazing. But if you're a young brand, like focus on like what my customer wants and how they see it, how they perceive it.
How you blend your product in their lifestyle. The more seamlessly you blend it, you're good to go.
Yeah.
You can't make it too hard for them to imagine you in that garment.
I mean, that's what there are certain like these little things that brands sometimes overlook, which makes the journey harder for the customer, which makes the journey harder for the brand then.
Personally, I feel a lot of new age brands are lacking post sale services. Like they only care about sales, acha ho gaya, wow, gone.
Yeah. I mean, returns and exchange policy is a very big thing.
Because I've seen a lot of brands who I've shopped from, because I shop a lot from homegrown brands, and they have terrible after sale services. I'm not saying that I want, to be pampered or anything, but if I'm like writing a problematic email for something, then a reply is the least.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sale ho gayi, khatam. Just a sale is not everything. What you do after the sale matters of how you get a return.
Absolutely.
Because अब मैं नहीं करूँगी ना उनसे कभी shopping वापस. Then it's like a cancel in my brain.
And I've felt that when you communicate it to them, they understand. When customer is buying from a homegrown brand that's still building itself, they have that empathy for you.
Yeah.
They'll say, अच्छा मुझे जवाब आ गया ना, आपने situation समझा दी, I'm okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you just ignore them and not reply, it just...
Then they are furious, and then
they will comment, they will say something bad, or they won't shop from you. Either way, you've made a terrible experience for someone, and they'll also give that feedback to every other person.
I think as not just as a customer, I think as humans we just want to be acknowledged.
Yeah.
Once you acknowledge,
especially जब आपने पैसे दिए, you want to be acknowledged, right?
You want to be acknowledged. It's simple as that. Acknowledge कर लो, आधी problem वही खत्म है तुम्हारी.
No, I agree. It's something that has to be solved.
I think I'm done with all the questions. Just one last question. We do this with every guest. What is the best piece of advice you have ever received?
Best piece of advice? Damn, it's tricky. I think it is that fail quickly. Make mistakes. Like it's okay to do that. If you are fearful of making mistakes, you will never actually take your shot, right? And you only miss the shots you don't take. So fail quickly. Don't be terrified. Don't think too much about what will people think, what will the societal judgment be. I mean, I'm in economics and a math major, and I run a women's wear fashion brand with no education whatsoever. So I had a lot of pressure to deal with as to what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. But you really have to be confident in why and what you're doing. Make efforts, keep your head down, work. Even when you're successful, work like you're failing. And don't be scared of it. If you really truly believe in it, like go for it. I mean, the math should add up. I'm not saying like do crazy things and like just burn your money. But if you genuinely are passionate about it, try it. And don't let others' perception become the fear that stops you.
Nicely put. I think I'll like to wrap this conversation. Thank you so much for giving us your time today and wishing you all the best of things with Past Modern.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, and see you guys next week.